Imagine you're at home on like a snowy Saturday night, cozy, maybe reading a book, having a cup of tea, and suddenly you hear 30 rifle shots ringing out in your quiet neighborhood.
Oh my gosh.
I know, right? That's exactly what happened to one family in Fort Wayne
Wow.
back on January 29th, 2022.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's the case we're diving into today, the unsolved murder of Maria del Socorro Maldonado Ambres.
So what makes this case so disturbing is that it happened right in front of Maria's children.
Yeah, it's just awful.
They witnessed this whole terrifying ordeal.
So let's go back to that night and try to piece together what happened. We know from police reports and witness statements that it all started with a knock at the door. Maria's two kids, a 14-year-old son and a 12-year-old daughter, were home with her at the time.
Yeah.
And amazed, Gus asked to use the phone.
Okay.
Now, Maria probably didn't want to let a stranger in, so she said no.
Right.
But minutes later, that same door was kicked in.
Oh, wow. So this wasn't some random act.
Right. Seems very planned.
Yeah. The intruder was dressed in black, wearing a ski mask, and carrying a rifle.
Oh.
He demanded money and even threatened to shoot everyone if Maria didn't do what he said.
It sounds terrifying.
It is. This level of premeditation really points to something more sinister.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So Maria's children, they witnessed this whole thing unfold. They told the police how this masked man forced their mom to hand over her car keys and then abducted her.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, made her drive away with him in her own car.
Wow. It's hard to imagine what must have been going through Maria's mind in that moment.
I know.
Faced with an armed intruder and fearing for her children's lives, she probably made a split-second decision to cooperate, hoping to get him away from her family.
Yeah.
It's a testament to her bravery in the face of unimaginable terror.
Absolutely. Now, less than a mile from Maria's home, her car was found, crashed into a house, and riddled with bullet holes.
What?
Yeah, and we're not talking about just a few shots. We're talking 30 rifle rounds.
30?
30. The sheer number is just staggering.
That is just unbelievable. It suggests a level of rage that goes way beyond a typical robbery.
Right. Initially, the police thought maybe robbery was the motive, especially because Maria's bakery had been robbed before. But the brutality of this crime makes that theory seem incomplete.
Yeah, I mean, why such excessive force? It's one thing to steal a car, but this level of violence feels so personal, almost like a twisted act of revenge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we've got this incredibly violent crime and a lot of unanswered questions. What we do know is that one shot was fired inside the car.
Really?
Yeah, before the rest were fired from outside.
So was Maria trying to fight back? Could she have possibly recognized the attacker and
Yeah.
he reacted violently?
It's all possible, right? It's what makes this case so baffling.
Absolutely. So we were talking about robbery being a possible motive, the demand for money and all, but the violence just doesn't fit.
Right. And it does feel like whoever did this wanted to inflict pain, like they were trying to send some sort of message. And then there's the fact that police found out about another robbery, a similar one at a Hispanic-owned grocery store nearby. The victims in that case were actually kidnapped from their home and then forced to go back to the store with the robbers.
Oh, wow. So there are some pretty eerie parallels there.
Right. It's creepy. It makes you wonder if it could have been a copycat crime.
Yeah. Like maybe someone was inspired by that first robbery and saw Maria as an easy target because of the bakery.
That's possible.
Or even more disturbing, maybe it was the same person striking again.
That's a scary thought. But even if it was a robbery gone wrong, 30 shots is still a lot, don't you think?
You're absolutely right. It's excessive, even for a robbery. It points to something much more personal.
Yeah, like maybe there was a personal grudge.
Exactly. And remember that one shot fired inside the car.
Right, before all the others from outside.
It makes you wonder what happened in there. Was there some kind of struggle?
It's possible.
Did Maria know her attacker? Did she recognize him? And he just panicked.
That's another piece of the puzzle. Now, the police looked into Maria's personal life. They talked to her ex-husband, a friend who some people thought was a boyfriend.
Okay.
But both of them were cleared.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Her ex-husband had a history of domestic issues with Maria. But he was actually out of town when it happened. And the friend, it seemed like a casual relationship with Maria.
Okay.
There were no signs of, like, any bad blood between them.
So she didn't seem to have any enemies.
Not that they could find. It's just so strange. It's like she was just living her life, running her business, raising her kids, and then suddenly this.
It's heartbreaking. And then we have Xavier, the man who's already in prison for murder.
Right.
He's obviously capable of violence, and his girlfriend's sister claims that he confessed to killing Maria.
It's bizarre.
It is. But here's the thing. There's absolutely no known connection between him and Maria.
So could it be a case of mistaken identity?
It's possible.
Yeah.
What if he meant to abduct someone else? Maybe someone connected to that other robbery.
And Maria was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
It's a chilling thought. But it would explain the brutality. If you realize he had the wrong person, maybe panic set in, or maybe he just wanted to eliminate a witness.
That's a possibility.
It's a terrifying thought. It shows how random violence can be. You know how it can shatter lives without any warning or any clear reason?
Absolutely.
Oh,
But then why would he confess to his girlfriend's sister?
right. That is strange. You'd think he'd want to keep a low profile.
Unless he wanted to get caught.
That's one possibility. Or maybe it was his way of, exerting power and control over his girlfriend. A twisted way to keep her scared and dependent on him.
Oh, wow.
It adds a whole new layer to this case. We're dealing with someone who has already taken a life.
Right.
Who knows what he's capable of. Maybe he's manipulating things from behind bars.
It's disturbing.
Ugh.
So we've got robbery, a copycat crime, a personal vendetta, mistaken identity. Now this whole manipulation angle, it's a lot.
It really is. It's what makes this case so fascinating and so frustrating. The police have evidence, witness statements, physical evidence, cell phone records, security camera footage.
But Maria's case is still unsolved.
We have a lot of pieces. But that one crucial piece, the one that connects it all and reveals the truth, it's still out there.
We've gone over so much, and it feels like Maria's case is just a giant question mark.
It really is. There are so many layers, and each clue just leads to more questions.
But aside from the obvious tragedy of Maria's death and the fact that her killer is still out there, what can we learn from this?
Well, for one, it reminds us that even in seemingly safe and familiar places, danger can be lurking. It shatters that illusion of security.
Yeah, it's a harsh reality check that violence can happen anywhere at any time.
Exactly. And it makes you think about how we can really protect ourselves and our loved ones.
It's a scary thought.
It is, but I also think it highlights the importance of community. Looking out for each other, speaking up if you see something suspicious.
Yeah. Like in Maria's case, if someone had noticed something off that night, a strange car or person hanging around, maybe things could have been different.
Right. It takes a village. We can't just rely on the police to keep us safe. We have to be vigilant, report anything unusual, and support each other, especially in times of crisis.
Absolutely. And through all of this, it's important to remember Maria's children. They've been through something unimaginable.
It's true. They've shown incredible strength and resilience.
For their sake, I really hope the police can solve this case. Those kids deserve answers. They deserve closure. They need to know that whoever took their mother away will be held accountable.
I agree completely. Justice delayed is justice denied, but while we wait for those answers, we need to keep Maria's memory alive.
And use her case to push for positive change in our communities.
Right. Maybe by continuing to talk about it, by keeping the pressure on, we can help bring those responsible to justice.
Someone out there knows something. And even the smallest detail could be the key to solving this.
That's right. So if you're listening and you know anything about Maria's case, no matter how insignificant it might seem, please contact the Fort Wayne Police Department or Crime Stoppers.
Your tip could be the missing piece that finally brings this case to a close. And that's it for our deep dive into the unsolved murder of Maria del Socorro Maldonado Ambres.
A truly heartbreaking case.
If you found this episode compelling, be sure to subscribe to the deep dive for more explorations into the complexities of true crime. We'll continue to bring you closer to the truth, one case at a time. Until then, stay curious, stay informed, and stay safe.